Today I want to show you how to use the right part of the golf club. And I'm not talking about the club face, I'm talking about the bottom part of the golf club, the sole plate. Whether you're using a sand iron, a 7-iron, a 5-iron, a hybrid, or the big dog, the driver. All of these golf clubs have different requirements down at strike. And I've got a drill for you today that is going to change the way you feel it, you see it, and you control it. Now, if you have watched enough of Sky Sports Golf or any golf around the world, you'll have heard of Radar Riley or Jim Nantz talk about, look at that low flighted wedge down the fairway he's played there. And if you've heard to Colty, he would say, don't know what you mean, Radar, but that low pushed in wedge, 7 degrees down, a low flighted, dead wristed flighted shot. Then all of a sudden they talk about how he needs to launch it up and over a tree and not hit the branches. He wants to get that golf ball up in the air, flight it over the top of that tree, and all of a sudden he's down at 0 degrees angle of attack. I want to show you how to master the control of your angle of attack, master the low flighted, the high flighted shots, and control the bend as well. With the aid of my old girl, the broom. Yes, that's right, folks. I have done 6 videos on this broom. How can you possibly talk about the broom in 6 different videos, Stuart? Well, I have. Go check them out because they're an absolute killer when it comes to giving you insights into how we control the golf club. Now, today I want to talk about how we use different parts of the golf club that translate into using this broom. Now, if the missus has got you in the backyard sweeping up, all of a sudden the world is going to have more clean backyards than ever before because this broom will change your golf swing forever. Now, when we set ourselves up here, when the broom head is on the floor and pointing at the target, you can see this is a straight club face. If the broom head is pointing to the right, the club face is open, and if when the broom head is pointing to the left, the face is closed. The pitch of this broom head, when the broom head is tipped towards the ground, this is taking loft off the golf club, and when it's tipped to the sky, it's putting loft on. So we have a really clear visual on taking loft off the golf club, putting loft on the golf club, opening the face up and closing the face, depending on where we put the broom. When we move the broom through strike, all of a sudden, if you haven't picked up a broom just recently, the missus is still angry with you because you haven't done the yard. Everyone's going to have a clean yard now. When you pick it up, if you pick it up with the grip that I advise you to apply to your golf clubs, all of a sudden the kink that's down your lead wrist here will give you the energy to lift the broom up. Now, when you take your right hand and you start to move the broom down at strike, all of a sudden, this kink is a real power source of lifting and opposing the weight that broom has. So how do we think about moving the broom head so that it lines up straight or it lines up open or closed? So as we start to bring the broom into strike here, if I start thinking about getting too much inside out with the grip, can you see how the broom head starts to look way right of target? Then what happens is you get advised to bow your left wrist to line the face up. Now you've lined the face up with the grip going inside out, but now you've got no dynamic loft, which is why the world over, everybody's now starting to get more of a strong grip and bow the club face. Yes, you can stop the ball bending right, but you have no dynamic loft and you can't get the thing launched. And that's why manufacturers are now only making up to 5-irons and 6-irons in some sets. So we need to think about retaining this kink in our wrist. And we need to think about the track this grip works on that will start to line the face up more for you, which will stop you having to bow your wrist through strike. Watch my broom series for more on that. But today I want you to think about what part of the broom head are you going to strike for the low flighted wedge and the high launched driver. And the irons in between that sit in the middle. And I'll come on to that in a little bit more detail. So let's talk about the low flighted wedge here. So I'm going to swing the broom back and I'm going to bring the club broom into strike here. Now I've got the kink in my lead wrist. And as I move the grip towards the target, which is how most golfers would start to think about the low flighted wedge, body moving forwards, driving the grip forwards, you can see how that club face is wide open. Now what I'm going to do is move the grip around to the left. And as I move the grip around to the left, you can now see that the face line's back up. Now the more I bow my wrist, the more it takes the loft off and points the face left. The more I put kink back into my wrist, the more it lines the face back up. Now I've got kink back into my wrist, which is a powerful pressure point in the golf swing. Now I've got a grip that's moving to the left, a loft angle that's still decreasing because of a good track of the grip and a face that's square. So the wrist angle still keeps the loft on the golf club even though I'm hitting down. The point of this is that my grip moves with my body, as opposed to the grip moving in the opposite direction to my body. So I now get my wedge, and I bring the ball in, and I now think about moving the grip towards me through strike, which is lifting the club head up. Now you can see the kink in my wrist is still there. Now I've got my angle of attack, and there's my low flighted wedge. So now when I start to hit one in low, I can still feel the kink in my wrist, which still keeps the face close to the path, and I get an angle of attack down at 7 degrees. If I was to try to make that ball low and forwards by moving sideways, you can see that, yes, I would create a good angle of attack, but look how poxy that club face is. 11.9 degrees open to my path, 16 degrees open to my target, and wonderful, wonderful. I've got a path line from the inside at 4.6, but that's only because I've just jammed the grip miles out to the right. So this grip line, in conjunction with that kink in the wrist, that will make your left shoulder lower, your right shoulder higher, that will give you that angle of attack that the broom really visualizes, gives you the visuals on, allows you to now feel that low flighted wedge. The left shoulder sits down. Go check that video out because that will give you more insights on that low shoulder, low flighted wedge. Now if you start hitting it a little bit more left, then just put more kink in. So we now go more kink, more low flighted wedge. Now all of a sudden the ball's a little bit straighter. I just pushed down harder, I put more kink in it, and I lined it up straight. So that's how we hit those low flighted wedges. Now we're looking for the high booming draws, baby. Yes, with the driver. So we're going to use a different part of the broom. The part of the broom that we've used with the wedge has been the front left-hand corner. Now we're going to use the back right-hand corner of the wedge. So now, as I grip the club, the broom, in my hands here, and I now allow that broom to swing, can you now see that that swing moment is now making the bottom right-hand corner of the broom strike the mat? Now look at the loft angle of the golf club. It's now got more loft than it started with. That's our starting loft. That's a decreased loft, starting loft, increased loft. So now when I get that pull moment that I talk about in that video, you can then get that broom to swing, which allows you to then feel how that angle of attack starts to increase. The broom, then the more I hit up on the ball by moving the ball more forwards, and that's been a bone of contention for many golfers. They move the ball more forwards. All they end up doing is trying to hit more up and up and up. Look what it's doing to the face, leaving it wide open. So there we go. We start to allow that golf club, the broom, to swing, which gives you the chance to hit the back right-hand corner, which now gets that loft looking up. Now, the more you want to hit up, the more that broom is going to start pointing to the left. So therefore, aim a bit more right with how much you want to hit up on the golf ball. The broom is giving you the visuals on how much hitting down does for you and how much hitting up does for you. Driver now in hand, and once you've picked the broom up and go back to your driver, this puppy is light, which is nice because all of a sudden you can really start to feel how you get that swing moment down at the bottom, which you've got now total clarity on because of the size of the broom. So the more I swing, the more I'm going to hit up on the ball and the more I'm going to start to see that ball trying to draw. 5 degrees up I've hit on that golf shot with a nice straight path, which is allowing me to feel like the energy of the golf club down at strike is giving me the transfer from the pull to the swing. And it's the broom that's giving me the opportunity to do that. I now put the ball even further forwards in my stance, which gives me even more time to swing the broom head, which will give me even more angle of attack up. Because all of a sudden, I've now got a face to path value that's closing over because the broom, the club, the driver is meeting it even later in the arc. It's a very, very simple pattern. When you pull the club and you let it swing down at the bottom, you'll feel the energy transfer. When you then sit back into the middle of the bag, the 6-iron, you're feeling a blend of the two. You're feeling a pull and not quite as much swing. The ball is in a different spot, so that all of a sudden when you do feel your in-between motion between your driver and your wedge, she goes straight. Hopefully, the broom is going to be on your hit list to get yourself down the range in the golf. Are you tired of paying too much for your premium leather golf gloves? Head over to gxgolfgloves.com. These are gloves tried and trusted by elite amateurs and tour players alike. Enter my code GOODCOACHING to receive 10% off your next order. Go try them out. You won't be disappointed. Pardon practicing that delivery. If you've got any questions, pop them in the comments. And if I've offered something to you again, do consider subscribing when you're here. And that, my friends, is Good Coaching.